Ravenswood, a town draped in mist, secrets hid in its heart. Forests whispered of shadows, locals knew the truth. Something walked there, something cold. The air itself felt heavy, a weight on your chest. Like the town held its breath, waiting, watching. Tourists stopped coming, too unsettling. The stories spread, whispers of a haunting figure, a chill that followed you home. Ravenswood was forgetting how to be alive. They spoke of Eliza, a woman scorned, accused of witchcraft. Her eyes, they said, burned with an unnatural light. The year was 1874. Fear ruled the hearts of men. Superstition held sway. Eliza, different, became an outcast. A trial was held? Justice? No, just fear disguised as righteousness. Eliza's pleas fell on deaf ears. Their minds were made up, condemned. They took her to the edge of town, to the woods. Her screams echoed through the trees, a life extinguished, a curse born. Ravenswood wasn't the same. The air grew colder, a pallor settled over everything. The trees seemed to weep, crops failed, animals fell ill. Children cried in the night. The townsfolk whispered of Eliza's curse. They went to the woods, to her grave, but it was empty. A chill ran down their spines. She was still there, somewhere. The town began to empty. Families packed what they could carry and fled, seeking refuge from the unseen terror. Whispers followed the fleeing townsfolk, stories of a spectral figure gliding through the mist, her white dress billowing. Some said she was searching for something she'd lost, others that she wanted revenge on those who had wronged her. No one dared speak her name aloud, afraid to invoke her wrath. But in the silence, her presence loomed larger. Ravenswood was hers now, a town held captive by its own fear and the whispers of a curse. Section 5. A town flees. Year by year, Ravenswood dwindled. Homes stood empty, windows like vacant eyes. The church, once full of life, now echoed with silence. The townsfolk who remained were shadows of their former selves, haunted by the past, fear etched on their faces. They avoided the woods, avoided speaking of Eliza. But there was no escaping the feeling of being watched. Ravenswood was dying, choked by the curse that clung to it, a ghost town in the making. 50 years passed. The legend of Eliza lived on. Whispered amongst the children of the nearby towns, a ghost story. One night, a group of teenagers, emboldened by youthful bravado, dared to venture into Ravenswood. Drawn by the legend, they were looking for a thrill, a story to tell. They didn't believe in ghosts, not really, but the air was different here. They stood at the edge of town, hesitation flickering in their eyes. But the dare had been made, and they would see it through. Teenager 1, I can't believe we're actually doing this. Teenager 2, yeah, me neither. It feels different here. Teenager 3, come on guys, it's just a story. Let's go. The woods were still, the air thick with the smell of damp earth and decay. The silence was unnerving. They walked deeper, following the overgrown path. The trees pressed in on them, clawing at the edges of their vision. The temperature dropped. A chill wind whipped through the trees, whispering their names. Or was it just their imagination? Teenager 2. Did you hear that? Teenager 1? It's just the wind. Keep moving. They reached a clearing. In the center, a solitary grave. Eliza's grave. A sense of dread washed over them. Teenager 3. This is it. Eliza's grave. Teenager 2. I don't like this. Let's go back. Teenager 1. No way. We came this far. We need to see this through. The wind picked up, howling through the trees, whirling around them. Teenager 1, and then they saw her. Teenager 2, a figure in white. Teenager 3, gliding towards them. Eliza, her face hidden by the shadows, but her eyes burned with a cold fire. Terror gripped their hearts. They tried to run, but their feet felt rooted to the spot, frozen by fear. Teenager 1, she reached out. Teenager 2, her touch sent a jolt of ice through their veins. And then, just as quickly as she appeared, she was gone. The teenagers stumbled out of the woods, their faces pale, their eyes wide with terror. Teenager 3. They never spoke of what they had seen, but the experience changed them, haunted their dreams. They carried the mark of Ravenswood with them, always. Teenager 1. The story spread. Teenager 2 whispered in hushed tones. A warning. Ravenswood was not to be trifled with. Eliza's curse was real. And so Ravenswood remained, a ghost town, forever shrouded in mist and sorrow, a testament to the darkness that can linger. Silence had become Ravenswood's only language. The wind sighed through the empty houses, a mournful sound. The church bell, silent for decades, seemed to toll in the distance, a phantom chime carried on the wind. The sun rarely pierced the heavy canopy of trees, leaving the town in perpetual twilight, a place frozen in time. Sometimes, on the stillest of nights, you could almost hear them. The whispers of the past, Eliza's cries, the town's lament. Ravenswood stood as a reminder of the darkness that can reside in the human heart, of the power of fear and superstition. It was a place where the veil between the living and the dead felt thin, where the past refused to stay buried. And though the town itself was empty, its story lived on. A cautionary tale whispered around campfires, a legacy of fear. Some say that if you listen closely on a quiet night, you can still hear Eliza's cries, a mournful echo in the stillness, a reminder of Ravenswood's curse.